Rolls Royce has just unveiled the updated Phantom Series 2. They don't want to call it a facelift because Rolls Royce is too good of a brand to facelift their models. That's for lesser brands. Instead, this is a revised car of the Rolls Royce Phantom. And what I want to do in this video is talk about its design, what's new in this design, because there are some very subtle changes, but they really make a really cool impact, specifically when you look at it from a front view, which we're going to do, and of course the side and the rear. There's not really a lot of mechanical changes for this revised Series 2. It still has the 563 horsepower V12 engine, and what's new in the design is, for example, it has this illuminated grille that we first saw in the 2020 Ghost, and it also has a laser cut starlight feature in the headlights, which is just really cool to see, and I'm going to show you the details of that right here. And disc wheels inspired by the 1920s Rolls Royce Phantom 2. So let's have a look at the front view of the Rolls Royce Phantom Series 2. Up top, we have the regular Phantom introduced in 2018. So it's been around for 5 years now. It's kind of a time for a facelift or a refresh of this. But as you can see, they were very conservative when it comes to this update. And there's not really a lot you can see changes here. We have the changes in the grille. For example, in the 2018 model, it's framed by pretty much the same framing all around the front grille right here, while in the 2023 model you now have this bar on top, which is probably the easiest way to tell these two apart. And what this bar does is that it's part of the feature that creates the lighting for the grille shining down from above, which looks really cool at night. And if we zoom in on the headlights, you can now see that we have these gorgeous headlights in the 2023 model. It looks so tasty that you just want to go in and analyze these really close up and see all these laser cut holes in this headlights, which creates this almost star lit front headlights, similar to what we have in the interior here in the roof as well, as you can see right here. So it kind of connects from the inside to the outside now as well, and I think that's a really cool touch by Rolls Royce. But other than that, I mean, the Rolls Royce is one of the most, if not the most stately design that you can buy today, in my opinion. And the reason for that is, if we look at the lines here, a stately design to me needs to have a lot of horizontal lines in combination with a lot of vertical lines, and not too much styling and curvature on the designs. And as you can see right here, there's a lot of these type of lines that we're looking for in a stately design, and I think it's a beautiful, gorgeous design. There aren't many cars these days that still do stately cars like Rolls Royce. Mercedes have become a lot more fluid since the Bruno Sacco S-Class, and now it's more fluid and organic. It's not as stately anymore. That's what I kind of like the new proportions of the 7 Series. The proportions of it has a pretty stately presence comparing it to the Mercedes S-Class, for example. And here's another comparison between the 2018 model down to the 2023 right here. There's also this very, very thin, in this specific trim right here, a very thin pinstripe of red, as you can see right here. Details like that, it just adds more style and elegance and interest in a design like this, because the design itself is pretty simple. It's a very simple design with simple lines, putting more effort into the graphic features and also some of these pinstripes and the graphic design of this car. It makes it more interesting to look at, in my opinion. I'm also a huge fan of this two-tone grille that we have right here. So the hood and the side, the greenhouse and the trunk are black on this specific trim level, which I think looks really cool in combination with this gorgeous green or almost turquoise color that we have on the exterior. Now moving on to the side view, and this is the view that I think Rolls Royce does the best. I just love the lines and the flow of the Phantom and the Ghost as well. What I love about this design is the stateliness, same thing here that we have in the side view. Just look at these gorgeous lines. We have this line in the bottom, then we have this line in the lower part of the body, and that's it. On top of that, we do have the shoulder line that is probably one of the longest shoulder lines in car design history, with this line going all the way from the front end, dipping down here to the rear. And we still have the A-pillar pointing to the center wheel cap of the front axle, just like we want in a design. If that's off, you're gonna see that something is wrong, but you might not be able to exactly pinpoint what looks off. And that would look off if this angle is off by just a couple of inches to the left or to the right. You're gonna notice that, even though you might not notice the detail exactly what's wrong with it. So sketching a Rolls Royce is very easy. If we were just to box up a Rolls Royce here, and this is what I love about Rolls Royce, they've kept this kind of same graphics throughout the years, and I really like that they just modernized the proportions but kept the overall styling of it. So we have these two key lines right here and a long wheelbase to be able to, you know, house the passengers comfortably. And then if we just put the A-pillar out here now, we do this line like we have in the production version right here. If we put that out and then create another box up here, we now have our Rolls Royce Phantom pretty much done. And then you have this thick C-pillar, or what is this? A, B, C, D pillar right here. Also a very distinct feature of the Phantom specifically. And then in the rear it kind of slopes down a little bit like this, and then rounds off in the taillight with the typical graphics that we have for Rolls-Royce, where you have the taillights sitting in the same line as the shoulder line. It just dips down here, and then you have the square taillight right here in the back. It's a very clean and timeless, elegant, graceful design that I think Rolls-Royce has been working on for a very long time, and it still works today. It's one of my favorite sedans because this is definitely a proper looking sedan, looking at the proportions of this thing. And as I said, they haven't fallen for the temptation of starting to create more kind of styling in their designs. The Ghost, as you know, is the smaller version of the Phantom, or the smaller sibling. And as I've said before, when you go smaller into your model lineup, you can start to have some more fun with styling. And you kind of see that in the Ghost as well when you compare it to the Phantom here, for example. The Phantom is more restrained and a lot more strict in its styling, which I think it should be. And then you have the younger sibling, the Ghost, being a little bit more experimental and have some more styling features to it compared to the Phantom here. Another thing I really love about this design, this specific 2023 model, is the wheel design. This is a wheel that is inspired by the 1929 Phantom Series 2, and I think it's a really cool design. Same thing here, very elegant and timeless. Usually I don't like designs when they just have a simple cap like they have here on the Rolls-Royce, but in this specific car it really suits the overall styling. Since the rest of the car is so restrained, I feel like this type of wheel really suits the Rolls-Royce Phantom, and it looks good on this car. Now once we finish this sketch, I just quickly want to show you the rear view as well. I'm just having too much fun sketching this this design now. Once I get going with a sketch like this, it's hard to stop because there's always kind of more things to add to it. But in a true Rolls-Royce fashion here, I'm gonna try and stop it while I still have it be the proportions out, and that's all I need. Let's have a look at the rear view right here. And this is also a same kind of philosophy all around the car that we have, and you can clearly see the strong shoulder on this design, which makes it look so beautiful and elegant and graceful. It feels like, looking at it from a side view, when you have this front end being almost vertical, and then you have this dipping shoulder line going down towards the end, and also meeting this line at the bottom that goes up, it feels like this is sort of like a if we were to have a solid piece of metal, for example, and attach a piece of fabric or some cloth or a cape to that, and then you run it really fast, you're gonna have the front end being flat, and then you're gonna have like the cape flowing in the wind after, in front of this platform that is the front end of the car. And that's kind of the feeling that I have here, that this front end is plowing through the air, and the air then creates naturally these two lines flowing after this front end. It's just a clean, classic design from Rolls-Royce that kind of shows itself in this rear view as well, with this greenhouse, and then you have the thick C-pillar right here, which is one of my favorite pieces. It kind of adds some more privacy to the rear end, to the passengers as well. So you really have a privacy cocoon in the back, and the taillights then going into the shoulder lines, connecting as a graphic feature to this shoulder, in addition to this typical Rolls-Royce boot or trunk that sticks up further. You have this chamfer right here going into this massive D-pillar right here. And I also like the fact that they decided to hide the exhaust, because if you want, you know, this is a hyper luxury car. You don't need to show its sportiness. That's another thing that I like about Rolls-Royce. They don't try to be sporty. They're not supposed to build sports cars. This is all about luxury and elegance, and that means sporty exhaust is not going to suit a Rolls-Royce Phantom. So I definitely think they did the right decision to hide the exhaust and just have a clean looking bumper right here that blends really nicely into the rest of the bodywork. Overall, a gorgeous design by Rolls-Royce, the Phantom Series 2 and the Series 1, the from 2018. Not a lot of changes. None of the changes are in the proportions. All of them are in the tiny details and graphics of the car, and I think that's what Rolls-Royce is all about. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.